Hello, dear viewer, and welcome to another episode of the Catholic League Forum. I'm Mike McDonald, Director of Communications at the Catholic League, and joining me today is Bill Donohue, President and CEO of the Catholic League. Now, Bill, we had a very busy week this week with all of the excitement surrounding the possibility that the Supreme Court might be overturning Roe v. Wade. And obviously, in some quarters, it's not a very popular topic, particularly among the Democratic Party of today. And Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, introduced or pushed forward legislation this week to what he said codify Roe, but it really goes beyond Roe in a lot of ways, and it's perhaps one of the most extreme bills on abortion ever. Can you talk us through that a little bit?
I don't think it can get much more extreme. God bless Joe Manchin, who's a Catholic. We saved the day on this thing when he voted against the bill. Joe Manchin has correctly said this would overturn about 500 state and local laws.
Right.
This goes way beyond beyond Roe v. Wade. And what's really interesting to me about this is that from our point of view, there are a lot of problems with the bill, but the one that jumps right out at us is the fact that it would eviscerate, literally
Right.
gut, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which is a very important piece of legislation. It was actually introduced by Chuck Schumer when he was a congressman in Brooklyn. What happened, Chucky? Now, all these years later, religious liberty is the enemy of freedom.
Right.
So he wants to get rid of the very law that he touted, and he gave a glowing speech about this back in '93. And then President Bill Clinton, he signed it without reservation. Indeed, it won overwhelmingly in a voice vote, unanimous in the House, and only 3 people voted against it in the Senate. So for them to say that religious liberty is now a problem, that along with the passion for abortion, it doesn't speak well for today's Democrats. And we're not Republican or Democrat. I just went after Marjorie Taylor Greene here a few weeks ago, a Republican, for saying that the Catholic Church is controlled by Satan. So we go where the action is, just like the firemen. And unfortunately, too many of the arsonists these days are located in the Democratic Party.
Yes. And another interesting piece you had up this week really kind of delves into this sort of disconnection between the mainstream within the Democratic Party today and the American people at large on the subject of abortion. Using your training in sociology, you got a great piece up on our website, CatholicLeague.org, that looks at where the American people really are on Roe v. Wade and a lot of the misinformation surrounding that.
Yeah, all we're hearing on radio and TV and the internet is that the American people are for Roe v. Wade. That's simply absolutely not true. They don't tell the people when they ask them these questions, do you know that Roe v. Wade allows for no exceptions right up through term? In practice, that's what it means. Because all you have to do is invoke a mental health exception.
Right.
Look, the Pew survey was good methodologically. Their explanatory narrative I found really problematic. But the important thing is this. Even Pew indicates, if you look at the data, that the American people do not believe in what Roe provides. For example, right now, you can have an abortion up to 24 weeks. It's even beyond that.
Yes.
But in the letter of the law, 24 weeks with Roe v. Wade, they asked the American people in the survey, they were against it, 43% to 22%. They didn't mention to the people, the respondents, listen, do you know that Roe allows right through term? They didn't mention that. Most people who are in favor of abortion rights, the majority, like 6 out of 10, do not believe that a woman should have the right to abort her baby at any time during pregnancy. So it's very, very clear. Most Americans want parental control, consent, I should say. 7 out of 10 want the parents to be notified if your minor is about to get an abortion. That's not a protection that's there in Roe v. Wade. The fact of the matter is the American people are in favor of a woman's right to choose an abortion. They never complete the sentence. In very limited circumstances, both in terms of time and reason, and not for this wild, wild west abortion on demand thing. It's been misreported by the media, and the Pew survey actually confirms and validates the pro-life position, not the pro-choice position.
Yes, a very good piece. And dear viewer, I would recommend checking it out, CatholicLeague.org. We'll have a link in the description below. Now, Bill, this is one thing that we've talked about a lot, that the Catholics have been pretty much in the vanguard of trying to save life in this country to repeal Roe v. Wade. And that has made Catholics the target over the last couple of weeks, unfortunately, of a lot of terrible instances of violence, anti-Catholic sloganing, and picketing outside of masses, even interrupting masses.
Firebombing, yeah.
Firebombings, anything that you can imagine has been happening. But we've been talking about this, other people have been talking about this, but President Joe Biden, the self-described devout Catholic, has been very mute on this subject.
Yeah, and Jen Psaki, who'll be leaving for MSNBC, that'll be a very hard transition, I'm sure. She initially said, well, this is all about a freedom of speech. Then she got blasted, and so she began to walk it back a little bit. Here we have Biden, a so-called Catholic president, hasn't said anything about people being singled out because they're Catholic. That's what's going on with the Supreme Court, which is against the law, but nobody's enforcing it. And then you have all of these incidents of violence and vandalism, and you would expect the President of the United States would speak out. He does when it comes to other segments of the population, if they're being intimidated or harassed, but he does it with his own. I want to mention one other thing, too, Mike, about the Roe v. Wade thing with that survey. What they found is that 19% of Americans are in favor of abortion at any time, for any reason. Wow. That means 81% are against abortion for any reason. Roe v. Wade allows right through term. So 81% of the American people are against what Roe allows already. And Biden should mention this, but of course, he's an enthusiast for abortion rights.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very much leading the charge these days, speaking about this. But interestingly enough, you have a piece out today looking at the people that he's surrounded himself in office in his cabinet. And just looking at the Catholics that are in the cabinet, most of them are of this sort of Biden school of Catholicism where abortion, for any reason, is okay.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Now, the exception would be Lloyd Austin, the black man who's the Secretary of Defense. He hasn't spoken out on abortion, so that's fine with me. Dennis McDonough, Veterans Affairs, he has a couple of brothers who are priests. He's been a little careful on it, but although he's kind of leaning the other way at this point. Even if we give him a pass, we still left with 6 others, most of whom were governors or in some position attorney general. These people are off the charts.
Right.
I mean, they're in favor of partial birth abortion. That means that the doctor takes the scissors, jams it into the kid's skull when he's 80% born so he can get through the woman's canal. And that's something the American people regard as revolting. These are the people that Biden chose as Catholics to be in his cabinet. 6 out of 8 are rabid off the charts people on abortion rights. So it's no question then that the White House itself is infused with these people. It's a culture of blood that exists there on their hands.
Yes, and it's very disturbing because without leadership, these attacks that we're seeing are going to continue.
They're going to continue, right.
And with the people around him that are his nearest and dearest advisors are in favor of looking the other way, or at least not condemning this terrible practice of abortion. Right. Bill, I think that's a good spot to leave it here this week. We've got a lot to cover.
I just hope we don't have any more incidences over the weekend because these people don't seem to want to stop. They're acting like fascists, which is what they are. We're not against people who peacefully protest, but you don't go to doxing people's homes.
Yeah. You
don't go to Supreme Court justice against the law to begin with. And you just do it in a civil manner.
Right.
But you know, when you're firebombing offices and stealing tabernacles and the like, that's not something. These people need to be put in prison. And I hope to God we don't have any more incidences this weekend. If we do, we're going to have to take some action, Mike.
Absolutely, Bill. All right, Bill, I feel like this is a good spot to wrap it up. But before we go, a little bit of Catholic League house cleaning here. You've got a big day coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're traveling down to Ave Maria Law School to get an honorary degree and deliver the commencement address.
Right.
So we'll have a lot more to say about that in the future.
I expect to get them fired up.
No doubt, no doubt. So, dear viewer, if you are interested in any of these stories that we talked about this week, do check out the links in the description below, also the website, catholicleague.org. And if you could give this video a like and subscribe, that will greatly help us get the message out. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.